We are live. I am so excited, you all. This is our very first, the Global Real Estate Boom webinar. I am Stephanie Gillis, and I am here with my amazing friend, Catherine Banks. And today we're going to kick this show off, and we're going to talk about why are Americans investing overseas? What has happened? Where has this boom come from? I'm going to give you all some statistics and why we're going to be talking about this. There was over $800 million worth of real estate bought in the Caribbean in 2024 by Americans. And that's just what we can track because data is not readily available. So that's just what we can track. I am sure that number is going to go up. Kat, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I travel a lot and I keep hearing this. People are buying second homes, third homes. I'm Greek. Everybody I know has at least a second home. So yeah, there's a global boom and people want to travel and they want to be in different places and they have the ability now to work remotely. So it's a thing. It's a great trend. Yeah.
COVID opened our eyes to so much, and I'm glad you said that because
Yep.
people did learn. Companies learned, some are going back to the workplace, but a lot of people learned that you can work remotely pretty much from anywhere. God knows I've learned that. I am a real estate broker by trade, selling real estate from this computer day in and day out all over the globe and training others to do the exact same thing. And it is an amazing thing, especially when you're entrepreneurial or in sales or what have you, that you can utilize this computer and be anywhere from Costa Rica to the Bahamas to maybe a destination home in Montana because you love to ski, whatever the case might be. That's what this is about. We're getting ready to topple into the largest transfer of wealth that has ever occurred. Have you heard about that? The baby boomers transferring the wealth?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's a great trend that's happening right now. And it's exciting. It's really exciting that people can find themselves, you can work a full-time job. You could be anywhere in the world at any time, in any time zone. And yeah, you can completely have a normal life.
The other big boom of why people are doing this, it's not just for them to go and enjoy it a handful of times a year. It's also for investment purposes because short-term rentals, look, the Airbnbs and the VRBOs, they have introduced us to there's more to life than just staying in that hotel resort. Why not rent an entire home? And so there's an entire investment world out there that people are taking their money, they're investing it in buying these homes and then turning that into some very, very liquid income, which is also a phenomenal trend that's going on and going to continue to rise. The real estate market inside the United States has been extremely competitive when it relates and correlates to multifamily and so forth. And so they've been looking for other places. Where can I invest and get the return on my investment that I'm looking at? Well, when you start to look at some of these markets outside of the US as it relates to rental property and investment property, you need to be speaking to me because I can turn you on to exactly what those are. Kat, I'm excited today because you've got some questions for me, I think.
I do. So we've already started talking a little bit about affluent Americans purchasing the second and sometimes third homes abroad. Tell us more about the trend. What got it started? Was it during the pandemic that this became hot, or has it just, been the last year or two? Tell us more.
Well, I think that, people were always buying, okay?
Mhm.
Not everybody, okay? But COVID did shine a light. COVID did introduce us to, okay, if we are cut off and we have to be stuck inside of something for 8 months straight, what is that something we want to be stuck inside of, right?
Yeah.
So it did change our thought process quite a bit. It also changed the fact what we talked about, the investment side of things, because what we saw kids, doing online school.
Mhm.
And we saw families getting back to that family time that they had been missing, right? Because look, I'll be the first to admit, I'm a mom of three. I prior to COVID, I worked a lot all the time, so to speak. COVID brought that family dynamic back together like we had never been before. The five of us stuck in a home, where we couldn't go out to the rest, we couldn't be leaving, we couldn't be going to the office, all of those things. And what we started to do was we started to get online and start looking for destinations to go to and rent these type of properties. Well, okay, then you start thinking, okay, well, if I'm renting this type of property and it's costing me $15,000 per week, wait, what if I buy one of these, and let's say we use it 5 weeks out of the year, and then I turn around and rent it the additional time, why not start with that type of legacy property? And so that is what I believe shined the light on it in a much more dynamic way. Put it this way, it's when I, as a real estate broker, started globally looking at real estate as a whole and not just inside of the United States. And when I started to do my research and I started to ask around, I was flabbergasted at the number of Americans inside the US that actually had already owned property in the Caribbean, in all these destination locations. And was shocked that I didn't really pay attention to it before. And so then you start to see developers that had been developing inside the United States for quite some time decide, well, I know how to develop and build. I want to go do this in other places like the Virgin Islands and Bahamas and Costa Rica and all these phenomenal places. And so, it has just really started to expand and explode in a way that it never has before. And with as much cash on hand as there's a lot of cash out there, you all, there's money, and people have ways to spend it for investment, for also enjoyment, for tax purposes, right? There's ways for tax savings on this. There's just so many opportunities. And that's what we're doing here at Airdomo. We are introducing an entire global destination world to an entire audience that hasn't been able to set their eyes on it before. And that's what we're doing here.
That's awesome. So tell me, what are buyers looking for in the destinations that they choose? Like, are they looking for sun or snow? What is it that they are attracted to? What's the trend?
It's a mix, obviously. I remember there's a line in a Jerry Maguire movie when he's being recruited out of high school, and he said he'll either surf or ski because of the football teams he's being recruited to. So look, there's people that want to go to the warm climate, okay? But then there's people that love the winter sports. I just finished ice fishing 2 weeks ago, you all. I was on the ice for a week. I mean, ice fishing, literally. So am I a winter sports girl? Not really. I love the warmth, but we do go and do that. We're seeing people do both. We're seeing people do both, especially with the trend and the ability to turn this into an investment for themselves. But I'm saying right now, big destinations, Costa Rica is extremely popular. We're seeing majority of these islands all in throughout the Caribbean, whether you're at U.S. Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, all the way down to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All of those areas are really becoming online, and that's because it's easier to get to them. The airlines have more direct flights. And so when you look at your big airlines, American, Delta, United, and you see where their direct flight opportunities are, that's what's up and coming. And that is where your popular destinations, Bahamas, Bahamas kind of did this for a while, but I'm seeing destinations in the Bahamas where you can get in for, just over 300,000, but I'm also seeing destinations that have the Ritz-Carlton name behind them and the Four Seasons name behind them, selling upwards of $20 million per villa, which is just, it's a smaller market, right? That leaves some of us speechless, but it's there. It's absolutely there.
And that brings me to my next question. I write about luxury travel, and so I stay pretty often at Four Seasons Resorts, Pendry, Montage, and even Nobu, who's gotten into the game, these branded residences now are offering people all of the hotel amenities, but they can stay, they have this home, and it does cost upwards of, sometimes $20 million. So why the trend with branded residences? What do you think is the reason why people are gravitating towards that?
Well, because, think about it. You want this luxury destination, but you don't need the pressure of the maintenance of it, right? You know, it's one thing to own property in the Bahamas. It's an entirely different thing to find the cook, the cleaner, the maintenance people, all of those things, right? And so it's almost a own it and set it and forget it mentality of that it's
Right.
handled and it's taken care of. So you have all the pleasures of ownership, but you also have all the pleasures of going to a resort and being spoiled rotten, right? Everything is just done for you. And
Mhm.
so that also helps, maintain that level of investment too. And now here's another thing, Kat, that's becoming really phenomenal is a lot of those, that are tied into those brands. They will allow these owners to take their ownership at one bank a week or two or a month into
Mhm.
and trade with others and be able to go to other destinations within that family of brands. We have a scenario right now too where I'm sure there's listeners out there going, I can't afford, $1 million to $20 million, home.
Mhm.
Well, it doesn't cost that either because there's an entire arena of fractional ownership as well, where people own a fraction of the real estate and
Mhm.
get to use it a fraction of the time and pay for a fraction of the maintenance. But it too is being maintained, and you're being treated as if you are a hotel resident when you go. Everything is concierge service. Everything is just handled for you as you come. And so that opens up the market to many, many more people. A lot of times for me, with having children at home still and in school, maybe I can't justify spending $2 million on a destination home because we're not going to be able to use it enough, right? But I
Right.
could justify spending 250,000 and buying a fraction of that home too. And so there's so many ways to be able to have that second and third home ownership. It's just amazing these days. There's creative ways everywhere.
That's exciting. So what destinations are hot? Like, where are people gravitating to?
Oh my goodness. I mean, right now, Costa Rica, I have so many clients reaching out. What do you have in Costa Rica? What's coming online in Costa Rica? What's coming online? They like US territories, like the US Virgin Islands,
Mhm.
St. John. They like those because it's not a foreign country, so to speak. But they also, again, they want those destinations that are easy to get to, a direct flight out of maybe Miami or from where they live, maybe out of Atlanta, or depending on what coast they're living on. Something that is easy to get to, and you're not doing a bunch of puddle jumpers. Bahamas is really picking up. Cabo down in Mexico has always been for the last several years popular, but there's a lot of things coming online there. Mexico always has a lot of new developments going on. And so, pretty much everything in the Caribbean is really on an uptick right now, especially the luxury developments.
And such a great way to escape the harsh winters. Because, like, I mean, Cabo's a 2-hour flight for me, so that's nothing. I mean, it's as easy to fly to Cabo as it is to fly to Seattle. So
Mhm.
where would I rather be? I
Yeah,
mean, no
Cabo.
offense to Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah, we love
Right.
Seattle, but come on, it's rainy there most of the time,
Of
right?
course, right. So, okay. So if someone wants to look for a destination, if they're interested in a second home and they don't know how to go about, maybe researching, what do they have to do? Can they come to you? How can you
Absolutely.
help them?
Look, we're just on the, what is the slogan I'm looking for? We're just the tip of the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg of what's coming. But, yes, come to me, because, that's what we are putting together. We are putting together, where is it that we go to find these destination homes? What does that destination look like for you? Because for you, it might be a destination in Colorado, or a destination in Montana, or a destination, fly fishing somewhere, right? It may not be necessarily in the tropics. It might be in Europe, for all we know. I mean, destinations are everywhere. And, one of the things that has been very difficult over what I've been doing in this industry is finding that one centralized location of where can we find these projects? Where can we find these new developments that are coming online? Where can we find this inventory? Because it's very difficult to find. And that is what we're going to be talking about on these webinars, where we can find this inventory and how we're going to be able to bring it to you and connect it directly with you. And that's what this is all about. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And that brings us back to, I don't even know if we mentioned this was going to be a weekly webinar, but it is going to be a weekly webinar for Airdomo, discussing all of the trends, things that you could do, places you can live, how to get there, visas, anything you could possibly think of. We will cover those topics. So it will be a weekly thing. And we look forward to meeting you, taking your questions, and Stephanie's the expert. So we look forward to hearing more from you.
And look, we want you to like us. Look, we're just getting started, you all. We want you to like us on LinkedIn. We want you to follow us on Insta. We've got a lot that we're going to be bringing to you. And this is an opportunity, again, like Kat said, for you to learn and so forth. We're going to be teaching you everything there is to know about home ownership abroad and destination ownership. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And we're going to have a lot of cool special guests that are going to be coming on too. So we're going to try to keep this short so that it's very engaging for you.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Stephanie. You are the expert. I feel like I learned a lot, and I'm excited. I want to now get a second home.
All right. Awesome. I'm ready to sell you one.
All right. I'm ready.
Until next week, you all. Thank you so much. This is
Bye,
Airdomo.
everyone.